Great leaders aren't born, they're built. Build the Bench is a fast track to leadership where you'll learn the fundamentals from some of the best in the country. Develop the mindset, skill set, and confidence to lead your teams and drive growth. Because leadership isn't a title, it's a choice to grow. Welcome back to LA Legends, where we break down what it really takes to perform at a high level, not just in the field, but behind the scenes. Because success in businesses isn't just about production, it's about system structures and keeping everything moving. And my name is Michael Fisher.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Today, we've got someone who has mastered that side of the business, Jenn Freeman, Territory Asset Analyst, who has 10-year experience as a district sales coordinator as well. And this episode is all about best practices, what works, what doesn't, and what Jenn would do differently, knowing what she knows now.
Awesome. So, Jenn, welcome to LA Legends. And most of this team actually knows you very, very well, which is awesome. We unfortunately lost you. But what we always want to say is that you've always had some real talk with us. And in your experience right now, you are working and having a global view of all of us. But let's take a step back. Can you tell us just a little bit about your backstory, your origin story with Aflac, just so people have an idea? Because they see you on stage and then they're just like, oh, wow, she just arrived there. But no, I know that there was a lot of grit and determination and things that went behind that. So would you mind just giving us a little bit of the backstory?
Sure. And thank you for letting me be here. This is exciting.
Yes.
So I've been with Aflac. I just celebrated my 19th year with the company. I came out of the field. I grew up within Aflac and these walls. So to me, it's like a 19th birthday. I'm 19 years old again. It's really
Nice.
fun. So coming up, but I was a 24-year-old mom. I had little kids. I wanted to have a new career path. Didn't really want to go back to school, but really just wanted something where I could take care of them and be the mom, take them to school, pick them up, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that started my Aflac journey. Like many others, we go in the field and we start out and do the grind of the prospecting, opening accounts, and all the fun stuff. And so I did that for a few years. I found that I actually really liked to work with other people. As much as I don't like to admit I am an extrovert, I like people. I like to interact with people. I like to help people. So that meant I wanted to work more within a team. So I started
Mm-hmm.
pulling other new associates alongside me to say, let's go do this together because I don't want to do it by myself. That then turned into a CIT role that I stayed in for a couple years because why do anything in a quick path in my life? Take a little bit
Slow
longer
burn.
to do anything. Yeah, exactly. Do everything a little longer. But then um, I had a lovely person in my life. Many of you may even know her. Her name is Gina San Angelo, and she was not even my region at the time, nor my district, just a good
Hmm.
friend and mentor. Was like, why are you not a district? It's like, well, I don't know. Why would I be? But so she helped me open that path to open that may be actually what I wanted to do because I was already doing a lot of those activities every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that became my journey as a district sales coordinator. And through lots of different leadership changes, alongside getting even Gina to become my region at one point, which was pretty awesome, and working alongside her, started that path. And I was a district for about 8 years. In that, I did all kinds of things. I worked with broker. I loved having a new challenge and learning a different kind of path. So I worked alongside brokers. I
You
also
lurked as well, but
I
yeah,
lurked working on the shadows. But so like broker relationships was a big deal to me. Then it was again, it's like I constantly want like that challenge, something else. So then it was like, what is this new group back, many years ago before you
mm-hmm.
all maybe were born? We used to call group cake. So it was the wake a cake. So we were one of the first ones to kind of start that process. And that was fun. Same with technology and working with different platforms and solutions. So that was just, again, it was another challenge, another aspect. And so I ended up growing my team very much on kind of being the first to adapt to situations and learn it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because I am a no BS person and I do speak a lot from my heart, and I don't know, I'm not going to stab you in the back, I'll stab you in the forehead. Some people don't like that, but it did create a lot of relationships and people trusted me because they knew I was who I was. So that cultivated large accounts. I inherited a lot of cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
So my team, we were very proud on the fact that we worked broker, large case, and We had a solid book of business. We were not your district that was going to go out and do the hit it and get it new accounts. We opened them. We just didn't do a lot of them. We gathered them more organically from referrals, different things, but we had a solid book of business because we wanted to take care of our current assets. So I did that for a while. And then I was recruited out because I
Did
kind of
that
got burned
well.
out. And I needed a change and just a different scenery. So my life took a different change. My husband had a company that was pretty successful. So that then led me into the MAA role that then quickly turned into the TAA role. And so I've been in that for the last 4 years. And so that's been a fun journey as well. And now I
Yeah,
get to work
so for
with all of
people
you.
that don't know, the territory asset TAA territory asset analyst, actually Michelle was in that role as well. And it's really cool because you do get to zoom out and be like, "Oh, like this is so obvious." But I like the fact that you actually did walk the walk, Jen, because there's a couple things that you just said. One, I love that you and Gina, you've worked so closely together that you actually have the same Affleck mannerisms, and like it's just crazy to
So
it's like,
true.
it's so true. It's like, oh, they say the same things and they even like move their hands the same way. So I love that. But the other ones that you said that like when you try to put 19 years and be like, oh yeah, I'll explain 19 years in 2 minutes. The big one that I thought was really cool was that you actually talked about how your team basically was always a team that would execute and do exactly what they're supposed to do. And that actually creates a lot of trust where people are like, oh, I'm going to trust existing account strategies, broker strategy, technology, and actually trust this person because you won't let things fall. So I think being that person and making that choice is a huge deal. And it's cool that you did that.
Start your week strong with the Monday morning meeting. Tune in for team accolades that celebrate success, contests that keep you motivated, and announcements that keep you ahead. Don't just start your Monday, own it with the Monday morning meeting.
Zooming back out and kind of looking, and if you're like, hey, if I could speak to a district sales coordinator today, what do you think like some of those like core like fundamentals where you're just like, hey, like I know your job, I know what you do. What's something that they should be focused on to lock in to be the exceptional DSC?
Always approach things with a little bit of that agency mentality. And it goes into both for their existing team, but then also their surrounding support people. So that could be their RSC and then market office or market trainers, different things. Like they have a whole support team. But if you approach things with that agency mentality as a district, it really does get you a little bit further in the business because it's not all on you. We're just one person. And I think the more we kind of have the evolvement within Aflac evolves, with new products and we're going to have new partnerships and there's new strategies, it's a lot to take on for one person.
Yeah.
But if you really figure out within your organization who is really good at what and use it, like if somebody is amazing at customer service, that might be your account service person that can really run with something. If you have somebody that's really, really good at organization or details, those are going to be the people that are going to help you with your case building or even those larger enrollments with technology.
Hmm.
You're not going to put somebody that's not organized into those roles. They're not going to thrive. So you really got to use and be creative within your team of who is doing what. But then also, don't be afraid. I think as a district, we sometimes get in the weeds because, we're a level 30. We wear 30 different hats. Cool. We're asked to do a million different things and it's a lot. And there's only so many hours in the day. And so it's kind of like, okay, step back and you have to slow down in order to go fast. So, what's the most important thing that you have to do in that day? And what's the thing that nobody else can do? What's your gift and why are you in that role? Because that's what you need to do. Everything else you can kind of figure out who needs to do what. And I mean, again, that biggest thing, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the change and just taking on. You don't have to like go introduce every account in your book this new strategy, but pick a couple and see what happens because you might be really surprised of where it can get you and be open-minded to that change and having those conversations.
So many notes just in that little segment right there. I love that you talked about having not forgetting to think of an agency mindset, because this goes back to, E-Myth that Michael and I talk heavily throughout. I think throughout the year we talk about E-Myth and technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur, and thinking like an entrepreneur, so the agency mindset. So I appreciate you bringing that up as well. So let me ask you, what are the most common mistakes that you actually see pretty early on in stepping into a district sales coordinator position?
The things I see with new districts that kind of gets them in the weeds a lot is that they do not know how to 100% transition their uh like skill set. They're not
Yeah.
they haven't learned quite how to duplicate that and like transfer it over. So transferring skill set's a big one. So then it's that, and it's honestly not just districts. I think
We
it's
did
any.
not pay her to say that, by the way. We talk about that a lot. We did not pay her, but this episode is sponsored by the Transferring Skill Set. So yes, keep going, Jen.
But it isn't just districts, it's everybody. It's just like
Yeah.
I think in order to do AFLAC, you have to have an A-type personality, and sometimes we have control issues. And those control issues mean we think we have to do everything, and nobody can do it better than us. And so a mentor in my life taught me, if you can get somebody to do 80% of what you can do, that's a win, because multiple people doing 80% is better than you doing just one time 100%. So I think that that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Transfer that skill set and let them fail. We learn when we fail. We don't learn until we fail, because it's then, I mean, if everything's always sunshine and rainbows, then cool. But it's not. That's not life. That's not reality.
Well said. I think that type A personality you were just describing of perfectionism as well, that when you get someone brand new, that they should be able to replicate exactly the way. And sometimes we forget that we were in that seat at the same when we were associates, and then we needed a fumble, a forward, fail fast kind of scenario for us to become the person that we were, as a CIT or even a
Mhm.
DSC. So forgetting that hat happens all the time. Or we forget to do things because now I'm a DSC, I'm level 30. I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think that on a deeper level, it's like, every DSC is trying to be. It's like you want to be a better parent than your parent was, even if we had
Yeah.
great parents, and you're like, oh, I don't want to let them fall, and I don't want to, and their livelihood is dependent on us closing this case, and then, but we do what we end up forgetting is like down the road though, like if they were the ones that actually overcame in that moment, that's the life-changing moment. You just continuing to close accounts for them is not going to change their lives. In fact, 6 months later, it creates a really big problem, and I've made that mistake a million times. So I love that you said that, Jen, because also what we do isn't that complicated. Like people can do it. It's
Yeah.
we sell insurance. Yeah, that's good.
So let's actually talk about some practical, like best practices, right? That to actually move the needle if you're sitting in a district position today. So here's what are some, let's say, top three best practices that any DSC can actually implement immediately to help move that needle? Whether it's, let's focus on driving new accounts. Let's focus on one because there's too many, like you said, 30 hats.
You have to have a process, and you have to have a place in that process that you're also inspecting and have accountability. So I think being able to lead from the front and saying, what are you doing to show that new agent or that person what good looks like? If you only work 3 hours a day, they're only
Hmm.
going to work 3 hours a day. If you sit in the office all day, they're going to sit in the office all day. You're showing what this business looks like. Again, I learn from everybody. I constantly try to be a student of the business, but another mentor of mine would constantly talk about control the dinner conversation.
Yeah.
If you can get a new agent out and you're showing them, one, yes, you're going to go get your teeth knocked in, knocking on doors. It's going to happen.
Yep.
That's okay though, right? Like it's like you got to make that part fun where they're actually looking forward to go getting their teeth knocked in every day.
Yeah.
But you're also going to show them what it looks like to win and what it can be to win. And that's where, because when people win and they feel successful, they're going to keep doing those things, but then they're going to go home and tell their spouse or their support system of whatever that looks like, of how awesome that was and how
Hmm.
much belief somebody has in them. Because when somebody believes in you, I mean, like, that's typically all it takes is just somebody saying, I believe in you. You can do this.
Yeah. No, and they can. And then, you actually brought up a really, really big one that just, I don't know if it's a pain point that I just, witnessed about 2 weeks ago, but, there was a leader, and I'm not even under no illusion that they're listening to this. So I could just say it that they actually told a associate of like, oh, you know what? Like, we just do like a couple hours a day and, you can go home at 2. And I was like, oh, that's a bold strategy. And awful that you would say that to a person that is really putting their livelihood here because, yeah, you need to go all in. So I love that you brought that up is like that's something that, you know, if you are a DSE, it's an important thing and owning that and realizing that that's important. I wanted to do a quick pivot on the same note because you did mention this. Your husband actually runs a very successful company. And a couple of the things that you've actually said is talking about like scalability, transferring skill set, all of those things, very important. What have you learned from that side of the desk? And you're a business owner yourself as well, which is really cool too. So what have you learned from that side of the desk that you think that will translate over to people that, aren't, us Aflac people that are, trying to get attention from these employers.
So I believe it sounds weird saying it because I know we teach it in sales school. We teach it I mean, we really do train it. Timing is everything.
Hmm.
When it gets to a business owner, timing is everything. And as a business owner, as a spouse of a much larger business owner that does more, Aflac is great, but we are not the end all be all in their life. We are not what keeps them awake at night. We are not
Right.
the solutions a lot of times that also keep them like, oh, that's going to help me and fix everything. We're just not that cool. I mean, we're cool, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
we're
we're
not
cool,
that
but
good. We can sit at the cool kid table, but we got to be able to hang. So,
yeah,
um, when business owners, all of the things are constantly moving in their life, and it may not be like we learn, okay, well, are you trying to overcome are are you maintain being competitive? Are you trying to main our morale? It's the, what else? I'm trying to even think half of the HR
yeah,
map.
productivity,
Yeah, like all
being
the things. And it's like,
competitive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, that is a small piece, but another big piece is how about just their bottom line and what they're bringing in? My husband and it's always, do they have enough work or is it too much work? When he has 70 employees, does he have enough to feed and make sure that all 70 of his employees have income to pay for their houses and food? He puts that on his shoulders. And so it's like when you start thinking like, okay, this is just a very, very small piece of that.
Yeah.
Timing's everything. So if I want to get on his calendar, and I'm not saying me personally, but like an Aflac person or for a business owner, and this has helped me tremendously in my career, is I have to make this about him, but I also
Yeah.
have to make his timeline. And I have to communicate the way he likes to be communicated with. So you got to be a chameleon a little bit.
Hmm.
So when we talk about in trainings and people look at me a lot because it's like 30, 60, 90 days, 30, 60, 90 days, and it's this stupid whatever, it's true. If I call a business owner 90 to 120 days out and saying, hey, your open enrollment is right around the corner. I'm just looking to get some time on your calendar in the next couple weeks because I know you're busy because you're not going to have time this week. You probably aren't going to even have time next week because you're busy.
Hmm.
And I'm recognizing that. But what does it look like in a couple weeks that we can start looking at where we're at and what we're going to do? They're more
Yep.
likely going to give me some time because it's not rushed, it's not an emergency. So then I can actually sit and talk with them. But the problem is we always make timing about us in this business, or we're way behind and we're constantly playing catch up.
Sales School is hosted by Michelle Lee, the #1 market trainer in all of Aflac. Want to sell more insurance? Want to make more money? Want to learn how to sell the best things? Go to Sales School. I want to make sure that we do the underlining highlight of a few things that you said there. One of them is truly, they're not like just thinking like, Yes, Aflac. I just want to talk about some Aflac in my busy day while a million things, jobs, all that stuff are on fire in the business. And like they are trying to like make sure that jobs, the business is staying open and all that stuff. And then we walk in and we're like, hey, do you want to talk about supplemental insurance? And they're like, Jesus, like leave me alone. Like you weirdos. So like I just number one, we can be at the cool kids table, but like we actually have to be really, really cool in order to even to sit there. So like I think being top of mind of being like, hey, understanding that you know what, you have to mirror them. You have to be on point with your value proposition of how you're going to make their life easier and better. And actually just understanding like, okay, like put yourself in that person's shoes before you're even in that meeting. So you're in the right place. So, I mean, you said a couple of those that I think are really important. The timing aspect of making sure that, yeah, you're getting on the calendar and in that moment at the right time. And the last one is just like execute at that moment. Like that's the other one. If you're dealing with a high performer that, you know, is bringing in multi-millions of dollars a year in sales and you're wasting your time doing, I don't know, some discovery question that makes zero sense to that industry, like that's frustrating and they smell it on you. And that's where, again, you don't have to be that great, but like just, you know, practice and be on point for that. So, I mean,
Yep.
that's great to hear. Let me turn it back to you, Michelle.
No, I was going to echo some of the things you said as well, Michael. That's how timing. We had a recent conversation with someone out of your old market, which is Colorado, New Mexico North, and she made the comment of what it does for the business and putting that kind of the hat on in that conversation. So if she were to remove that the business owner out of that business, what would you do? How would your business survive now? So really understanding like the business owner, what they're worried about and so forth. Um, and being that chameleon, we talk about being able to adjust in sales. But I talk about adjusting and mirroring them first before you try to put your agenda, on the forefront of that conversation. So I appreciate you, repeating that because it's a thing that we have to do, right? Again and again and again. Sustainability, sponsored by Michael Fisher. So I actually want to kind of understanding your business owner mindset now that you have your district mindset and where you are today. So I'm going to move the conversation to sitting in the seat you are in today, as a TAA, and Michael said it earlier, like you get this high level view, and with your position in the company to see the different aspects because the people you work with on a day-to-day basis as well. So from a down a market level down to a region level and so forth. Is there something that you will do differently if you were to look back with all the hats that you've seen and the position you've seen as a district position, that you would do differently in your first 90 days?
Transparency, communication, right, within your team, whatever that team looks like, whether it's a couple people, whatever, like make sure everybody's on the same page. But what I would really do differently is I think I would just go and just start having those conversations about, you know, um, dental vision and leading, again, trusting the process of what your hierarchy is saying immediately. And while
Yeah.
we were early adapters, we didn't do that. And obviously, immediately, I had learned, like, I don't know if you remember me saying, I sat in a position for a little bit, or a couple times, or not a couple times, but I mean, it was a while. But once you start figuring it out, but it's more go. Just trust what you're being told and go do it.
Yeah. I mean, you just nailed that. And I'm so happy you brought that up because we do talk a lot about infrastructure and all that stuff. But then it's like, man, like early DSC, like if I like honestly, if somebody was like, "Hey, man, like you're a DSC tomorrow or an associate tomorrow," like the first thing I would do would just be like, go and just start like and just create so much activity and so much in the marketplace that like it can feed the infrastructure because a lot of people have infrastructure and then they're just sitting there without shit going on. So like there's like this is a cool house that has a foundation that I don't have walls I could put up on because I don't have anything going on. So like I really love that you said that just because we miss that one. It's like, stop thinking about it, get in the damn water and start swimming. Um, yeah, that's awesome. Jumped on 4 analogies in 1 sentence, but whatever.
I was like, we just referred to like how many different people in that one those few statements? Look out for the swimming analogy for a future guest coming on.
Yes. No, Jen, that was awesome. It's like, yeah, actually do it. So we told you that this conversation was going to go by in blistering speed, and it already has. I wanted to, before we do our rapid fire round, I just want to ask, is there any other things that you would like to just make sure that like our team hears, or make sure that like, if somebody is listening, that they could just be like, okay, I should do this one thing. So any other piece of wisdom that you could impart with our team, that it's like, do this one thing?
The one thing. Um, the one thing, I mean, it really is. It just goes back to, I mean, is trusting the process, but it's don't recreate the wheel. It's already been created. Somebody really successful has already figured this out. Just do it. Just go
Yeah.
and trust. Trust. So, I mean, it's kind of going back to the previous question, so sorry, but that really is. It's just trust the process and the process that somebody else has already figured out. It does work.
Yeah. It works. It absolutely does work. All right, Michelle Lee. So let's kick this rapid fire round off. So I'm gonna let you kick us off.
Okay. So best concert or event you have been to?
Bush, when I was in 8th grade.
Oh wow, nice.
We still a band, Bush?
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, he's still around. I don't know if they're actually still a band, but I don't know.
So where did you see them?
Fiddler's Green, which will always be Fiddler's Green. I don't think it's actually called that anymore, but if you are a Colorado native, it's still Fiddler's Green. And I got backstage passes and got to meet him, and it was when,
Wow,
we had that like crush on him, whatever. So it was great.
that's
That's
awesome.
cool.
That's a very good one. And yeah, it's still, you have a lot of good concert venues out there in Colorado, Red Rock and others. So, all right, what is one book and or podcast that you've recommended the most?
Wow, that is recommend the most.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to have this off
let's
the top of my head. There's so many. I
let's
really
do
like,
book. Okay,
am I
actually, you
allowed to
go.
say bad words?
Yes,
Yes.
So I really recommend the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
yeah, Michelle loves that book.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has a lot of really good pieces, but it helps you kind of like find out what's actually really important in your life instead of being everywhere. So
Yeah,
I think it can help in lots of places, but it really speaks to me, and it has my favorite word in it. So
I remember Michelle was a DSE on my team when she read that book, and she came into the office with a lot of vigor and a changed woman. So that is a great book.
it is. Highly
Yeah,
recommend.
yeah, that's a great one. Michelle.
The next one, and I think this is pretty applicable because I've worked with Jen for a while. So if you could add one button to your desk, like the Staples Easy button that
Mm.
you smack when you need it, what would it be?
To my current desk or when I was in the field? Have to
Hmm.
specify.
Field.
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 Okay. That honestly, there are easy actual buttons for them now. There wasn't when I was, so I will preface that and say that. But it would be to like the admin crap. Just get it off. The stuff that makes you look and feel busy but makes you no money.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yep.
that's a good one. Because you think about how many districts you know today in guilty of it when I was a DSC, that being stuck in that, administrative side of things. And thank goodness we actually have a system for that today that we can leverage within
Yeah.
a quarter called PAS. Invest into your business, invest into PAS to help you out. Sponsored by Professional Admin Services.
This should actually pay us, but anyways, keep going.
Okay, Michael, ready to wrap this up?
Yep. All right, Jen. So that was fantastic. Very valuable. I have a bunch of takeaways as well. And yeah, I knew that this was going to be just a huge hit with the team because, yeah, they're going to actually take away a couple things here that they could really apply. So thank you for just being a guest with us. And, you're always a LA South in our hearts forever. So You're always part of this team. So yeah, we miss you. We appreciate you. So Michelle, I'll let you close it out.
I'm going to echo Michael on that. Appreciate you and also learning from you when we were TAs together and actually still learning from you, even though we don't work our day to day. So for anybody that's, in the level 30 district role or thinking about stepping into it, focus on consistency, take ownership, trust the process so you can stay one step ahead of the game. And for our listeners, if this episode helped you level up, share it with someone on your team. Make sure you subscribe to the LA Legends, leave us a review, and share it with someone who could really benefit from today's conversation.